key techniques, audit evidence collection. These techniques are straightforward. Let me explain. You can observe, you can test, both methods work. These are valid approaches. However, testing provides the highest accuracy. Never rely solely on verbal statements. There's a common saying, one should examine what is said, then observing their actions. Right? Actions must match words. If someone tells you our internal controls are perfect, couldn't be better, right? They're just bragging. If you believe that your evidence isn't reliable in exams, don't just take someone's word for it. All right, let's say how something was done. You see, sure, you can listen to their explanation. In the end, you need to verify the facts. Got it. The problem is most people miss this point. They haven't developed an auditor's way of thinking, blindly accept what they're told. So then people started posting on social media, sharing all kinds of reactions. Remember what I mentioned earlier about personal feelings, right? Emotional responses. None of this is valuable information. These are not factual statements. Take the early days of the COVID outbreak. In Wuhan, people mostly shared emotional reactions rather than facts. A lot of what we see isn't factual evidence. This is particularly true for Professor Mu's lecture notes, chuckles. Wouldn't you agree? Take the field of literature, for instance. The real danger comes from people making emotional judgments. They base their conclusions on feelings, mistake those feelings for facts. E must never equate emotions with evidence. Therefore, throughout the audit process, audit conclusions require sufficient support backed by compelling evidence. This is non-negotiable. As professional auditors, stay objective when making decisions. You avoid undue influence. Understood? Then our own tested procedures. That's real evidence. Remember this for the exam. Don't just rely on hearsay, whether it comes from colleagues or supervisors. None of these count as valid evidence. The most reliable form of evidence comes from audit testing procedures. This is absolutely essential. The second reliable source is third-party evidence. Since they have no conflict of interest, testimony carries more weight. Make sure to remember these two key points. You need this for the exam. You should never rely on hearsay evidence, especially statements from management. Such verbal statements are not valid audit evidence. When collecting audit evidence, source independence is crucial. Evidence objectivity must be maintained through verifiable facts and empirical observations. Timeliness is another critical factor. In auditing, we work within time frames. Our audit covers which specific period. Let's examine evidence gathering techniques. Key technique here is reperformance. Remember, what we said was the strongest evidence. Results from independent testing procedures. So how does reperformance work? Well, you take the process, run it from start to finish. You see what I mean. Running through this process is what we call reperformance. Makes sense? Reperformance evidence, ultra evidence from other techniques you follow. It's evidence you verified firsthand. As for other methods, like observation, similar procedures, these serve as supporting procedures